stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. We're missing a couple people tonight. Ann Thurlow, chair, is absent. Bill Dwyer.
Yep.
Terry Granitek, present. Acting chair. Debbie Jett Harris is absent. Norm Peck.
Yep.
Terrence Donovan.
Yep.
Alternates Jay Ginberg. Here. Denise Markovitz.
Here.
Dave Schmidt.
Here.
Okay, and we have staff, William Mulholland, zoning official, Sue Sprang, recording secretary. What is it? Oh, Spang. I'm sorry. And Roseanne Hardy, ex officio. All right, we're going to have to see alternates by alphabetical order, Jay Ginsberg and Denise Markovitz. And I notice we don't have name tags up here tonight. All right, go ahead and grab your official. Are we missing? No? We're good?
Denise.
How are you?
Cool as a light.
Yeah.
Denise, if you're to my right, if we need a secretary, I will assign that to you.
All
I
right.
don't know if we'll need one, but. All right. Public delegations. Public delegations is the time when the members of the public are invited to speak to the commission on subject matters not on the agenda. Anybody from the public? Step to the podium and state your name.
Hi, I'm Browning Garrison, and I live up in Giants Neck Heights. And I've lived in this town about 7 years. My wife and I are retired. And what I'm beginning to see, I love the quaint little town, but I'm noticing that we're starting to put up a lot of apartments. And we're, unfortunately, this town's probably going to be the apartment town of Connecticut. And last year, because of the seasons, you all know that sometimes we go into a drought circumstance, and with a lot of this development going on, we almost had to have restrictions on the water usage. And I'm beginning to realize that the big complex up at off of exit 73, my wife and I are bikers. Bride Brook, sad to see houses being surrounded by apartments, and that's a pretty little country town road, which leads to Scott's Orchards. But we're starting to lose the outer parts of this town to apartments, and I'm concerned about that. And everybody should really be concerned about that, because it will affect all of us. And then I've just recently heard that a sewer plan is in place to possibly, if it gets approved, to add more apartments. And it's just gonna, as it is already, changing. It's changing this town. A good example town in my books is Lyme, old Lyme. We're losing a lot of land. I mean, nobody seems to be interested in land land trusts, keeping open space. We had a battle to get Chewagachi to not go to a developer. So to me, it looks like, and I'll end soon, is development contractors are taking it over, and people are just letting it go. So that's why I'm here as a resident, speaking my voice. And thank you for listening.
Can
Thank you.
That isn't our fault. That's Hartford bringing up laws, SA 31. That supersedes our laws. They can put it anywhere they want to.
How
and
can we
can't
change
stop
that?
them.
How can we change that? What could we do?
No, I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. What I'm trying to say, who makes those laws, and then why aren't we involved in making some of the decisions on that?
They're made in Hartford, not here.
Right, but what I'm saying is, how could we, the public, get involved in maybe some of their decision making?
That's your lawmakers. You got to vote them out of office.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to happen, you
I
know. But
I know you're acting chair, but your agenda does not allow for back and forth. He's made his points, which you've heard.
Okay.
But unless you want to add it to your agenda.
Yeah, no, I thank you, Ms. Hardy. We've heard you, I appreciate that. We love to have people coming to meetings, and this is how, you can be heard. This is how your voice is heard, by actually showing up. And we encourage people to show up, express their concerns, and, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. We hear you, and, we try to make the decisions we make as a commission, with input from the public, which sometimes we don't get enough of that.
yeah, well, thank you.
And it's frustrating, I'm sure, there's a delicate balance. There's requirements that we have to meet sometimes. There's housing requirements, there's, push from developers, and that's what we're here for, is to represent the public and make the best decisions we can.
Is there any advice you could give me that I could make?
Mr. Mahone?
We really shouldn't be engaging in back and forth public delegations for you to make a statement, and their view is, thank you very much for coming. If you want to come down to my office during regular business hours, we can direct you to
Yeah.
talk to different people. We're happy to share what we know,
Okay.
and we can address it that way, and we could sit down with myself and maybe the town planner,
Okay.
or either, or both.
All right. And
Thank you.
what's your name?
I'm Bill Mulholland, the zoning official.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to call you then and make an appointment.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I got carried away because I'm upset about that too.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, public hearing, now we move on to the regular meeting. Item 1, approval of minutes, February 16th, 2023. Does everybody have a copy of the minutes?
I do not.
I do not.
I do.
You do.
And there are a couple errors on there. Excuse me. Under call to order, I'm sure it's just a little copy and paste error, but it says Jay Ginsburg and Mr. Schmidt were seated, which they were not. And then under section 4, regular meeting, it is stated that Jay Ginsburg and Dave Schmidt were seated, and they were not. It should be something along the lines where Mr. Schmidt and Ms. Markovitz remain seated for this application. And then, that's all I found on the minutes. So top here. Okay. I think it's
They
just
were not
like a
seated?
copy and paste. Right?
Oh,
So
okay.
then Mr. Schmidt and Markovitz sat for you and Norm. Okay. And then down here again, I think it's just a copy and paste thing. This should be to the point or somewhere along the lines where Mr. Schmidt and Ms. Markovitz remain seated for you two. And then it says you two rejoin, which was good.
Okay.
Get that, Sue?
Yeah, I don't have any minutes in front of me. So,
I don't either.
I have it here if you'd like it.
I'll have to look at the meeting, the wedding minutes, but I don't remember.
I think it was just like a simple, like clerical thing that,
Oh, yeah, no, that's, if that's, if what you're
Yeah.
saying is correct, that needs to be changed. I don't usually do it for typos or anything that don't change the meaning of the minutes, but, definitely that is something that would have to be changed if that's correct.
Are we able to approve the minutes without copies in front of everybody, or?
It's up to you how you choose to move that forward. Well,
We have to
Can I-
approve them at the next meeting.
are you gonna approve that the next meeting, whatever you
We want to table that to the next meeting? We have a motion
I make
to,
a motion that we table approval of the minutes until the next meeting.
thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Minutes have been moved to the next meeting for corrections.
for vote.
All those in favor?
All those in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
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 All right, so moved. Old business.
Mr. Temporary Chair, I notice on the agenda, it does not state the subcommittees or the bylaws, which we're in the middle of the bylaw discussion, and then the subcommittees as well.
I would prefer to move the further discussion on the bylaws, again, to another meeting where all commission members are seated, all regular members are seated.
Well, let's keep in mind that, according to our bylaws as it stands now, that alternate members, when they're seated, are regular members. I did send our regular chair an email, and she felt comfortable with me bringing it up about the bylaws.
Should we make a motion then to table it till the next meeting?
Sure.
I make a motion that we table the discussion of the bylaws to our next meeting in April.
Have a second?
Second.
That's not on the agenda, right?
It's not on the agenda.
So you did nothing to table.
Right.
Do I have a second?
I just don't want them to
Second.
disappear.
Second? All in favor of moving the discussion on bylaws to the next meeting?
It's not on the agenda, right?
Aye.
That's
We-
part of old business.
It's old business. I think we'd have to vote to
I,
add it to the agenda. Put it to vote. Is that
I
correct?
think she's pointing out that it's not on the agenda, if you all agree.
it is, I did send an email to the new assistant, or excuse me, new administrative assistant down there, and I did not hear back.
No, what
So
I'm
I think it's
saying-
just a minor error, I think, with her being, overwhelmed with the,
Sure, but
business
what I'm
she's
saying
doing.
is you don't table something that's not on the agenda,
understood.
I gotcha.
Okay.
right? So there's no reason to table it because it's not there in the first place.
So it's not on the agenda.
There you go.
No.
So let's
I just don't
move-
want them all to disappear, that's all.
Okay. I'm
What about a motion to have those items placed on the next agenda?
fair enough, right?
Then they'll be there.
I make a motion that the discussion of the bylaws, I'm sorry, what was the wording?
Subcommittee?
Subcommittee be put on the agenda for the April meeting, the first week in April.
I have a second.
Not well put, but
Second.
there you go.
Second. All those in favor of moving the bylaws and the subcommittee to the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on.
I'm sorry. Is it bylaws subcommittee or is it bylaws? and-
Bylaws and subcommittee,
Okay.
yes.
Plural.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving on, new business. We have application of Anna Lathrop for a gourmet gallery for a special permit for outdoor dining at 185 Main Street in Niantic.
I'll schedule that, Mr. Chairman, for hearing.
I'm sorry?
I'll schedule that for hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a lot more coming as well, is that correct, Mr. Mulholland?
Yeah, after the next meeting, we'll probably do, all the renewals will be due, I think it's the April 6th meeting. We're gonna be very busy in April, extremely busy.
And again, April 6th,
April
April
6th,
6th.
April 20th. So I think she's already scheduled for April 6th, but I will schedule, we've already set up the schedule, but I don't have it here in front of me.
Okay.
I think she's on the next.
We're shooting for April 6th.
Thank you.
Text amendment for, in addition to section 20 of the East Lyme zoning regulations for sale of alcoholic beverages by the Niantic Bay Theater. And that will be scheduled for
Schedule that as
public
well.
hearing? Okay.
Just for my, so it's, an application by Niantic Bay Theater, is that correct?
Correct.
Not just to serve alcohol at the theater?
They want to serve alcohol at the theater. It's theaters, live theaters typically do that, so when that comes before you, they will be here to present their views.
Just so it's not, you know, specific to one venue, correct?
Well, we'll debate that when we come forward.
Okay, moving on, item 3, application of Kristen Clark, PE, for the conceptual site plan approval for affordable housing and multifamily residential development pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-30G.
And the schedule.
Thank you. Zoning official.
We're just busy, I'll leave it at that. We're very, very busy. You're going to be very busy in April. So we've got a lot of ground to cover in April with some significant applications. So water and chocolate chip cookies, I think will be a couple long months.
Okay. Couple
So,
questions.
yeah, myself too.
We have the CB zone, multifamily,
That's,
mixed use coming up in next meeting?
it's on April 20th.
Okay.
We run the legal ad, sent the referrals out, so it's
All
all
right.
set up to go.
What's the status of the violation of the trees in at the Stop and Shop?
I've been out there a couple of times. I've been discussing that with their attorney, who happens to be Ted Harris, who continues to represent the ownership. We've gone back, we've sent them several letters, so I've talked to our attorney about that, and he's going to send them a formal letter from his office, which is really our next step.
We've been sending letters for
Right.
10 years.
But I need the attorney to do that, and we're just gonna have to go through the attorney. The state's gonna do a taking in front of the Stop and Shop, significant taking. They're gonna be pushing everything back, and we're in negotiation and discussing that because the private property owner is the one who has to put everything back. That's part of our overall discussion, and we think that's going to be our hook to get what we're looking for on the trees. Legalese. So,
You all set?
continue, gonna be busy.
I just have a question, Mr. Mulholland. I mean, granted, we're going to be busy, and we're most likely going to get a lot of public in attendance, I would imagine, with some of these applications.
Yeah, I think a few will have some.
Is there a possibility to where we could ask for help in terms of the presentation-wise, rather than just like prints being presented to the commission, to where the audience and Ms. Hardy and our other alternate members would be able to view that? I know other commissions do that, and I'm sure they'd be willing to assist us.
In terms of,
PowerPoint presentations.
Technology, right?
that's up to the applicant whether they wanna come in with a PowerPoint or not. We can't require it, we don't require it. If they wanna do that, they can. Some applicants do, some do not. And, the folks I have coming forward, one of them may actually do a PowerPoint, we'll wait and see. We're still discussing and getting ready to get to hearing. And I don't disagree with what you're saying because it's easier for everybody to see.
Because I do know that, you know, the Soapy Noble was ready to do, you know,
And
technology, and he went back to the
I have one
papers.
coming in, and I'm gonna be talking to them, so I will throw that out. It's a very good point.
Yeah, it's something that we can get more acquainted with, and when somebody wants to come in and do a PowerPoint.
Because that way, you know, like Mrs. Hardy wouldn't have to ask to see it again, you know, so this way it'd be up for our audience and attendance to notice.
With our new hybrid system, we're
Right.
working on this so that the person at home, you'd have a split screen. And
Right.
the person at home could see the commission, and then on the side would see
The presentations.
the plot plan or
Yeah.
whatever it was. But we don't have that perfected yet.
What
No.
does show their stuff on the
Right.
screen.
I'm not talking about hybrid yet, because I know we're still very green at that, and we're working on that, but I'm talking about more for less for their presentations. I think it's time for us to step up.
Well, again, that would be a vote of the commission and.
Agreed.
And then also for, Mr. Mulholland to, if you do for one, then you've gotta do it for everybody. You can't be discriminatory.
That is Correct.
Is there no reason why it can't be offered when the application is presented?
Well, I think that Ms. Mahoney would have to notify them that according to your revised policy, that you would expect a PowerPoint or.
Is it a policy for all the other commissions?
No. But, though, for wetlands, and I think for planning, Gary Goschel has a computer
They
on
do.
his desk, and he plugs into that and everything, he puts the agenda up there and everything, not just plans.
Yeah, and I have spoken with Mr. Gaishel about this, and he's more than willing to help us out on that. So,
And speaking as an alternate, I've been to meetings where I've been sitting out there and couldn't see what was going on. And then the next meeting, I might be up here and have to vote on it. So I think it's important for the public, but also important for the alternates to be able to see what's going on.
I would agree.
agreed. Yeah. Not only that, Mr. Ginsburg, but one thing that I did learn from the training we had last weekend is that alternates can participate in public hearings.
Yes, that was a revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, thank you, Mr. Mahoney.
Thank you. Moving on, comments from the ex officio.
I'm not going to bother to go over it because it's very brief. The board goes up and finished its budget deliberations last night, and they'll be forwarded to the Board of Finance. We made minimal changes to the original. We did make a few cuts, but we had probably, I would say, maybe, we had at least 4 meetings to discuss all of the departments and agencies. And yes, the budget is up, and it's going to have to be reined in. The average homeowner with a $300,000 house would be getting about a $75 to $150 tax increase. Probably more if everything were approved. Now, you also probably know that the Board of the Selectmen do not, by charter, make cuts to the Board of Education budget. You can only forward comments. Only the Board of Finance can make recommended cuts to it. We can suggest a bottom line, forward it to the Board of Finance, but the Board of Finance is the only ones that actually make cuts, or Board of Ed. The other town budgets are actually made.
Thank you. Comments from Zoning Board Liaison to Planning Commission.
Well, that was me, and my report will be even briefer than Roseanne's because there was no meeting. It was canceled.
Because it was supposed to be snowing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Thank you. No comments from the chairman other than thanks for your patience. We got through it, sort of.
It was the first time.
Yeah. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Ah, second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.